From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, April the 28th, 2017. The IDF launched a Patriot missile last night to intercept a drone sent from Syria that entered Israeli airspace. The Patriot successfully brought the unmanned aerial vehicle down over the Golan Heights. The IDF released a statement following the incident saying that the IDF will not allow any breach of Israel's airspace and will act against any attempt of infiltration. Every member of the U.S. Senate signed a letter yesterday to the Secretary General of the United Nations, demanding that the international body end its bias against Israel. The letter was spearheaded by Republican Senator Marco Rubio of Florida and Democratic Senator Chris Coons of Delaware. It was signed by all 100 U.S. senators, telling Antonio Guterres to end the, quote, unacceptable anti-Israel bias. The letter reads in part, through words and actions, we urge you to ensure that Israel is treated neither better nor worse than any other UN member in good standing. It calls for a number of steps to improve Israel's treatment at the UN and mentions the ongoing criticism from UN bodies like UNESCO, which has passed legislation denying Jewish ties to the holy sites of Jerusalem, and the UN Human Rights Council for its unrelenting singling out of Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu expressed his gratitude for the unanimous support, writing on his Twitter account today, I thank all 100 U.S. senators for standing up for Israel at the UN. And UNESCO, by the way, is set to vote next week on a resolution about Jerusalem that is proposed every year by the Arab group at the body. It disputes Israel's claim to sovereignty in any part of the city. Israeli diplomats are busy working to prevent a European consensus on the resolution. And a bipartisan bill to commission a statue in Washington of Holocaust survivor and Nobel laureate Elie Wiesel was introduced in the U.S. House of Representatives today. Democrat Steve Cohen of Tennessee and Republican Ileana Ros-Lehtinen of Florida authored the bill to honor Wiesel, who died last year. Cohen called Wiesel one of the greatest moral forces in the world. Ros-Lehtinen said that a statue of Wiesel in the U.S. Capitol would memorialize him and ensure that we continue to share his story and remind ourselves that, as he said, our lives no longer belong to us alone, they belong to all those who need us. The staff of the Israeli embassy in Berlin held its weekly meeting this week in the villa where the final solution was agreed upon in order to mark Holocaust Remembrance Day this week. In 1942, the decision was made to exterminate European Jewry at the Wannsee Conference at the Villa, where plans were drawn up for the annihilation of Europe's Jews. Israeli delegate in Berlin, Avi Nir, opened the meeting this week, saying it is a great, special, and exciting privilege to sit here as the official representatives of the State of Israel in Germany in the specific room where people, much like us, convened and made an inconceivable decision to terminate an entire people, to systematically exterminate, to completely destroy without a trace. Pioneering Dr. Patch Adams was among the medical professionals honored this week at Israeli President Reuven Rivlin's residence in Jerusalem. Rivlin and his wife Nechama hosted the Danielle Prize Healing with a Heart Award ceremony for 2017 on Wednesday. The awards were presented to 12 doctors and nurses working in the oncology units of Israeli hospitals for their exemplary compassion. Adams, who introduced the concept of hospital clowns to bring joy to suffering patients and who was immortalized in the film starring the late Robin Williams, received a special prize at the ceremony. Adams said, I can't imagine a prize more beautiful than a prize given for compassion. He said, it is a thing that could save the world. It is a great honor to be called compassionate. And Israel is preparing to mark Yom HaZikaron, Memorial Day, which begins Sunday evening, and Yom HaAtzmaut, Independence Day, which begins the following evening. Prime Minister Netanyahu and his wife Sarah met this week with orphans and widows of fallen IDF soldiers and said the pain and the longing never subside. Netanyahu and Sarah also met this week with the designated torchlighters who will take part in the official ceremony marking the transition from Memorial Day to Independence Day in Jerusalem this year, including Simon Wiesenthal Center founder and dean Rabbi Marvin Heyer, who is the first non-Israeli to light a torch in the ceremony. Israel's culture minister Miri Regev said that the inclusion of Jews from the diaspora this year symbolizes the stake that Jewish people all over the world have in the Jewish state. Heyer said, "I recognize that by lighting this torch, I am merely a messenger for previous generations of Jews, my own family included, who sacrificed everything to keep alive the dream that one day their children would return to the land of Israel and Jerusalem." And with the upcoming Memorial Day and Independence Day, JBS is featuring programming related to the State of Israel. For tonight, Friday, April the 28th, as always, live Shabbat services from Central Synagogue begin at 6, followed by Israeli musicians performing last year at AIPAC at 7:30. At 8, remarks from the late Israeli Prime Minister and President Shimon Peres from the 92nd Street Y. At 8:30, a look at Israeli innovation. At 9, it's the film Faith and Fate. And at 10:30, it's Musica with Israeli singer Idan Reichel. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 5:30, Rabbi Shlomo Riskin looks at this week's Torah portion. And a future programming note for you. Monday night, Mark Golub will be joined over the phone by a number of guests on the occasion of Israel's Independence Day. They include Israel's permanent representative to the United Nations, Danny Danon, Executive Vice Chairman of the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations, Malcolm Hoenlein, CEO of the Jewish National Fund, Russell Robinson, and Broadway star Tova Feldshuh, among others. That's from 7 to 9 p.m. Monday here on JBS. As always, for more information about our programming, you can check our website, jbstv.org. And that's the JBS News Update for Friday, April the 28th, 2017. I'm Teisha Bader. Shabbat Shalom.